My personal situation these days is trying to paddle a canoe with a tennis racket. I'm really much older than I look. Maybe death is polite, and we must open the door to let him in, or he'll just hang around out there on the porch indefinitely.
Take all the flash pictures you want to take.
This struck me as a problem that we're dealing with dramatically. I, for a long time, have been trying to get those aging musicians off the stage, back into the damn orchestra pit where they belong, so we can have something on the stage going on that has some drama and some pizzazz to it. There are what's called spinners. They have two different denominations. There are the right-handed spinners and the left-handed spinners. And it is serious business with them. It depends on what part of the time of the year they were born. Well, this is all the spinners have to do here.
Godlike. You know, when you write in the third person, you feel godlike because you're entering everyone's head from above, which is why I think a great many people are novelists.
Really obsessed with childhood, not because of the specific memories, but I really valued that early world where everything was first. You know, your first moments, your first day, your first beauty, all of those experiences.
Maybe he's writing stories in which young boys develop the power to read their mother's minds and thereby avoid revealing that they are not doing their homework because they know when the question is coming and can leave the room. I think he'll write bad poetry, and I believe everything begins with bad poetry.
A woman behind us on the aisle who was startled at the sight of two men holding hands. And I wondered how it could matter to her now, on the verge of this life. And then I wondered how it could matter to me that she was startled when I flared on that same margin.
What's that you say there of sufficient means? What Norwegie off the boat will know what that's all about? This gave her pause. Good for you, Earl. You surprise me sometimes. She licked the pencil point. So we'll just say with cash.
I was very curious to see, what would result from this, bringing together of something that is in the realm of religion or spirituality and throwing science with a capital S at it. I just sort of thought that perhaps there is some answer. Perhaps, but I overestimated the powers of science and scientists.
What is that voice like in your head that says, not here, Mary, this is not where we're going to be funny?
The line is pretty far out there, but when I was writing Stiff, there was a chapter I left out for that reason. I didn't feel that I could, I felt the tone would be inappropriate, humor would be inappropriate.
There's this whole thing about applause, right? Because it actually makes the reader, generally, I know this from talking to other writers, very paranoid. Because once you start clapping, they didn't clap very much for that one. What was that about? So, you start to gauge everything by that, which is really bad. So I like what William Matthews said about, the little that people sometimes give at readings. He says, well, that's a gerbil orgasm. That's a really funny guy.
That to me is actually like, that's fuel for writing. If it seems like you shouldn't be doing it, if I have like some sort of sense like this is really not a place you should go, like I usually just go there. But I've been writing these poems about bees, and then for weeks, and then there's one that came out with a bee that spoke was like really good. You do not want to write talking bees, And then then 6 years later you have the talking bee book.
What if I thought I was the only one not seeing what the world was really like? What if I was the dead end of my own perception? What if I was just plain stupid? Let that question linger for a moment. Books and stories are imaginative ventures where alternative possibilities of the present and the past and the future are laid out for us to consider.
There was still a here, but that's not where we were, continually turning our backs to something unseen. People with weapons crept like thieves through their own houses. How did we feel?
The fuel that has to be behind that is what Faulkner talked about. He was asked late in his life, what's the main thing a writer needs? He said, it's not talent. And he was sincere. He said, I used to think it was talent, but I don't anymore. Do you know what he said? It's a famous answer. He narrowed it down to one quality of mind. He said, it's curiosity.